Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope all of you are doing very good. So today in this video we are going to learn about types of epithelial tissue. There are two major types, covering or lining epithelial tissue, and another one is secretory or glandular epithelial tissue. In this video we will be covering or lining epithelial tissue mainly. Okay. So there are three types of covering or lining epithelial tissue. What are those? Those are simple epithelial tissue, which is composed of only one layer of cells above the basement membrane. Then stratified epithelial tissue, which is composed of multiple layers of cells on the basement membrane. And another one is pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. That means which looks like a stratified one but actually the simple one. Okay. So let's take a look on each type. There could be three types of simple epithelial tissue based on the shell shape. Okay, if the shell shape is like very flat, then we will call it squamous epithelial tissue. Okay, if the shell is of cuboidal shape, then cuboidal epithelial tissue, and if the shell is of columnar shape, then it is columnar epithelial tissue. Similarly, in case of stratified, we can also see squamous stratified tissue. One is keratinized, another one is non-keratinized, then cuboidal, columnar, and another important one is transitional epithelial tissue. Okay, and there is no type of no classification of pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. Now going to the simple epithelial tissue. See, simple epithelial tissue means there will be only one layer of cells, single layer of cells above the basement membrane. If this is the basement membrane, this deep blue line, and this part beneath the basement membrane is known as connective tissue or lamina propria. Okay, where we can see the capillaries or blood vessels. Always remember, the blood vessels do not directly goes to epithelial tissue. They remain mainly in connective tissue. Okay, on the basement membrane you can see only one layer of flattened cells. That is why we are calling it simple squamous. Okay, whenever there is flattened cells, that is known as simple squamous epithelial tissue. See, squamous epithelial cells are present over the basement membrane. And one thing is important here to see that the nuclei of these kind of epithelial cells are of flattened type also. Okay. So these kind of epithelial cells, simple squamous epithelial cells, are mainly seen in endothelium, that means the lining of the blood vessels, then serous lining of various cavities like pericardium, pleura and peritoneum. Okay. Next, coming to the simple cuboidal type. Here in the simple cuboidal, the thing is same. Over the basement membrane, here you can see the cells are of cuboidal shape. Okay, cube shaped cells arranged in a single layer. That is why we are calling it simple cuboidal epithelial cells, which are mainly present in covering of ovary and thyroid gland. Okay, then coming to the simple columnar epithelial cells, epithelial tissue, where we can see over the basement membrane only one layer of columnar cells are present. And here you can see that in case of columnar cells, the nuclei are basal. Okay, they are present at the basal part of the cells and they are elongated type. They are of elongated type. Whereas in case of cuboidal cells, there were central spherical nuclei. Okay. In case of columnar cells, we can also see some apical modifications like microphylla or cilia. Okay. These type of simple columnar cells are mainly present in lining of intestine and gallbladder. So these are the three types of simple epithelial tissue. Now going to the stratified epithelial tissue. See, stratified, whenever the name comes stratified, that means there will be more than one layer of cells over the basement membrane. This is the lamina propria or the connective tissue, then this is the basement membrane. Okay, and over that you can see layers of cells. Okay, several layers of cells. And in case of stratified epithelial tissue, the name is mainly given according to the surface layer of cells. Where surface layers of cells are of squamous type, that type of stratified tissue is known as stratified squamous cells. Okay, see here the surface layer of cells are of squamous type, flattened type cells. So this is known as stratified squamous epithelial tissue. These can be of two type, either keratinized or dry or non-keratinized or moist. In case of keratinized stratified squamous tissue, the upper layer of cells, that means the squamous cells, are filled with keratin and they lost their nuclei. Okay, that is why they are metabolically inactive and they mainly give the protection against the water loss. So these are present in our skin, the epidermis. Okay. Then non-keratinized type of stratified squamous cells contain less amount of keratin and hence there is active nuclei and these are also metabolically active. So they are mainly present in moist covering of our body like mouth covering, esophagus, larynx, vagina, anal canal covering, etc. Okay, lining of those tissues. Then going to the stratified cuboidal. Here you can see there are several layers of cells over the basement membrane and the upper layer is of cuboidal type of cells. That is why it is known as stratified cuboidal. These types of cells are mainly present in sweat glands and developing ovarian follicles. Then going to the stratified columnar, same thing is here. Over the basement membrane there are several layers of cells and the most upper layer of cell is of columnar type. Okay, these are very rare. They are mainly found in conjunctiva of our eye. Then going to the fourth type and the most important one type of stratified cells, that is transitional epithelium or urothelium. Here you can see above the basement membrane there are various types of various layers of cells. Okay, but the surface layer of cells is of dome shaped. What shaped? Dome shaped or umbrella shaped, which gives distensibility. Okay, so this is also known as urothelium. Why? Because this type of cell can shows transition from a flattened one to a dome shaped one based on the presence of urine in your bladder or its absence. When the bladder is filled with urine, then it gets distended, okay, or it gets flattened, okay, and when the bladder is empty, then it gets swelled up again. Okay, so that means this type of transitional epithelium gives the distensibility of your urinary tract like bladder, ureters, renal calyces, etc. They also protect the underneath layer from the toxic effect of urine. Okay, so these are all the types of 4 types of stratified epithelial tissue. Now coming to the pseudo-stratified, the last one, pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. Here the name suggests that they look like stratified one, but actually they have only single layer of cells over the basement membrane. Here you can see this is the lamina propria or connective tissue, this is the basement membrane, and over there only one layer of columnar cells are present. But they are nuclear situated at different levels. So whenever you are seeing through a microscope, you are seeing that there are different the nuclei are present at different levels. So you are assuming that there would be various layers of cells over the basement membrane, but actually there is only one layer of cell, okay, but their nuclei are at different position. Okay, that is why this type of cells epithelial tissue are known as pseudo-stratified epithelial tissue. And here you can also find goblet cells which secrete mucus. They are mainly found in the upper respiratory tract, okay, that is the lining of trachea, bronchi and nasal cavity. So this is all about all the types of covering or lining types of epithelial tissue, and in our next video we will cover the secretory or glandular type. If you find this video useful, don't forget to hit the like button and share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe the channel for more such videos. Thanks for watching and happy learning.